Sales tells us, the person who possesses Christian meekness is affectionate and tender towards everyone. He is disposed to forgive and excuse the frailties of others. The goodness of his heart appears in a sweet affability that influences his words and actions, that presents every object to his view in the most charitable and pleasing light. Welcome to Saints of the Day on Lumen Christi TV. Today is the memorial of St. Francis de Sales. Francis was born near Annecy in Savoy, France. He was destined by his father to be a lawyer so that the young man could eventually take his elder's place as a senator from the province of Savoy in France. And for this reason, Francis was sent to Padua to study law. After receiving his doctorate, he returned home and in due time told his parents he wished to enter the priesthood. His father strongly opposed Francis in this, and only after much patient persuasiveness on the part of the gentle Francis did his father finally consent. Francis was ordained and elected provost of the Diocese of Geneva, then a center for the Calvinists. Francis set out to convert them, especially in the district of Chablais. His first mission actually was to re-evangelize the people of his home district, the Chablais, who had gone over to Calvinism. Always in danger of his life from hostile Calvinists, he preached with such effectiveness that after 4 years, most of the people had returned to the church. At the age of 35, he was appointed Bishop of Geneva and spent the rest of his life reforming and reorganizing the diocese and in caring for the souls of his people by preaching and by spiritual guidance. While administering his diocese, he continues to preach, to hear confessions, and catechize the children. His gentle character was a great asset in winning souls. He practiced his own axiom: a spoonful of honey attracts more flies than a barrelful of vinegar. Besides his 2 well-known books, The Introduction to Devout Life and a treatise on the love of God, he wrote many pamphlets and carried on a vast correspondence. For his writings, he has been named patron of the Catholic press. His writings, filled with his characteristic gentle spirit, are addressed to lay people. He wants to make them understand that they too are called to be saints. As he wrote in the introduction to the Devout Life, it is an error, or rather a heresy, to say devotion is incompatible with the life of a soldier, a tradesman, a prince, or a married woman. In spite of his busy and comparatively short life, he had time to collaborate with another saint, Jane Frances de Chantal, in the work of establishing the Sisters of the Visitation. My dear friends, Francis de Sales took seriously the words of Christ. "Learn of me, for I am meek and humble of heart." As he said himself, it took him 20 years to conquer his weak temper, but no one ever suspected he had such a problem, and so overflowing with good nature and kindness was his usual manner of acting. His perennial meekness and sunny disposition won for him the title of Gentleman Saint. He never gave up. St. Francis teaches us that we can all attain a devout and spiritual life, whatever our position in society is. holiness is not reserved for monks and hermits alone, neither is it reserved for priests and religious. He wrote that religious devotion does not destroy, it rather perfects, and his spiritual counsel is dedicated to making people more holy by making them more themselves. In his preaching against Calvinism, he was driven by love rather than a desire to win, so much so that it was a Calvinist minister who said, "If we honored anyone as a saint, I know of no one since the days of the apostles more worthy of it than this man, Francis." Saint Francis is the patron saint of writers and journalists who would do well to imitate his love and his moderation, as he said, "Whoever wants to preach effectively must preach with love." Thanks for staying with us. Happy feast day to you.